The Polish Story with English version.
A story of a wise shoemaker and a dreadful dragon. Once upon a time, in Krakow, in the south of Poland, there lived an old king called Krak. He was a very good ruler, and together with his wife enjoyed their peaceful life. The citizens of Krakow were also happy, as their king and queen governed well and fairly, so both the city itself and its neighborhood became really prosperous. Unfortunately, one day there came an unexpected and cruel guest. It was a dragon, which settled down in a cave just next to the defensive walls of Krakow. As the area was very wealthy, the monster found it to be a marvelous place to stay. It could eat the animals being bred around and drink water straight from the Vistula river flowing through the city. After some time, however, when the dragon, which was always hungry, had devoured all the horses, cows, sheep and pigs available, it decided to launch a habit of eating 2 citizens of Krakow every day to satisfy its hunger. The wisest people of the city started to think how to get rid of the dragon, but no one was able to come up with the effective idea. One day, there appeared a young shoemaker who had traveled around Poland. At the beginning, nobody treated him seriously, when he claimed that he knew how to solve the problem. The king, however, got interested in his plan. One day, the king summoned him to the court. The young shoemaker was standing in front of him. He was dressed poorly in a patchy brown robe.
Young one, I heard that you have an idea. How do you intend to get rid of this plague?
Asked the king.
Your Majesty, I don't think that you will believe my story, but let me begin. I was a knight in the Order of Slayeron. Our duty was to defend the humans from the threat of dark magic. A few months later, a dragon attacked a village. My family was living in that village too. There was only one way to defeat a dragon. My mentor had a sword with a crystal inlaid in its hilt. It was the sword of Slayeron, the founder of the order. I didn't have time for anything else, so I took the sword without my mentor's permission. Yet my effort was in vain. When I arrived in the village, it was already on fire. My family was already dead. Only few people were still alive. It was a tough fight. I left the dragon with a scar. Even so, the sword exploded when I hit the dragon. He left, and I never heard of him again. After that, I was exiled because I had stolen the sword. Nevertheless, before I left, I took this.
And the young shoemaker took out a green shiny crystal from his pouch.
Let me guess. That's the crystal from the sword of Slayeron. Very interesting story, young one. I don't know if I should believe you, but I'm so desperate that I'll let you try your luck. But before you leave, I would like to know your name.
Said the king, smiling.
Lionel Dulake, my Majesty. Thank you for believing my story. I will see what I can do. Let's hope that the crystal is as powerful alone as it was in the sword.
Answered the young knight, and shortly after he left the room.
Is this our hero? Is this the one that will save us? We shall see.
Thought old Krak, scratching his beard. After 2 days of preparations, young Lionel Dulake was standing in front of the dragon's cave, equipped with his old armor. He entered the cave and looked around. He took the crystal out of his pouch. He whispered a few words, and the crystal started to shine very powerfully. It had a lot of energy.
By the name of Slayeron, I command you to show yourself and answer to my bidding,
said the young knight. He heard some large footsteps, and after that, from the dark he could see the giant face of a black familiar dragon. Shortly after, he recognized the scar made by him. It was the same one that killed his family long ago. The dragon kicked him with his huge tail and broke the crystal. It exploded, and the flow of energy seemed to be absorbed by the dragon.
Finally, I can feel the power flowing through my veins. Nobody can defeat me now. All the villages will be on fire. I became unstoppable.
Bellowed the dragon and flew out of the cave. Young Lionel D. Lake fell on his knees on the cave's floor. He watched helplessly the dragon as he flew out of the cave.
No, it can't be. No!
The dragon now was more terrible. His magic powers let him be as a cloud, to move as fast as the wind, be as light as a feather, and he could become a simple sheep or a horrible ogre. And, as he was a cloud dragon, he was the only able to throw fire and rays through his mouth. He attacked the villages only for pleasure, to hear the villagers' screams when he appeared. Our young shoemaker was desperate, because this was the second time he had been defeated by the dragon. So he decided to come back to his own village, thinking about how to kill the dragon. One stormy day, a special customer got into his shop. This was a wizard, in a disguise of a poor man, and he asked to make some shoes. The young man felt sorrow, and he made them very carefully. The client was so pleased that he gave a bag of gold coins. The poor man confessed that he was a wizard, and he told the boy the solution to save the city of Krakow from the dragon. He had to follow his orders strictly. Firstly, he would travel to Toledo to buy a sword, and he had to look for a weird plant in the mountains called the poisonous dahlia, with which he would make a potion which would make the dragon sleep forever. Our young gentleman got to the mountains, and after getting all the items, he had some coins left, with which he paid some hunters to kill a golden eagle to make a flying shoes with his skin. The young shoemaker took the challenge to avenge the loss of his family and help the city. He began a long journey through the mountains to Toledo, where he bought a knife. Hiding in the forest of wild animals, he slept in caves until he found the plant poisonous dahlia, which he used to make the sleeping potion. The shoemaker now had everything necessary to confront the man-eating dragon. Back in the old land, he could not recognize the city. There was no trace of green fields, castles, river, industrious peasants. Everything was burned, and few other people were hiding in the woods in case the king had been captured in the cave. The young shoemaker started to weep at the sight of this view, and believed that this time she should succeed. For a few days he was watching the cave to see the dragon's habit, and develop a plan. Every morning, before stepping out in search of food, the villain harassed the king. He fattened him because he was too skinny to become his food. After seeing why the king was needed, the young shoemaker had another idea. He set a trap and caught a rabbit, killed it, and filled with a decoction